Welcome back to TW Garage. Today we're going to be working on the suspension, the front suspension on the dirty coupe. Welcome back, guys. Well, I'm not sure if you guys know, but I live in Ohio, and here lately we've had some pretty warm weather. Today it's in the 60s in February, which is it's been nice. So what I've done while it's been nice is I've actually been out with the dirty coupe, just driving it around, having fun. You know, I hate letting these cars sit, so you know, and everybody gets, you know, a little sick of being tied up there in the house. And I haven't been out in the garage very often, and I apologize for that, but when it's really cold out, there's no motivation to go down in the garage and freeze your butt off trying to work on something. But yesterday was nice also. Took the dirty coupe out. I probably put between 150 175 miles on the thing. It did good, but I have experienced an issue with the car that I'm going to try to fix. Me and my buddy were talking. We thought maybe it had the wrong coil springs on, the wrong rate or whatever, and I didn't know what was on the car because, again, I didn't build a thing. Well, I got it up in the air, and I was able to turn the spring over here on this driver's side, and I noticed that it says, I'm not sure you guys got to read that. I had to get a light on it, but it's QA1. It says 12-inch 150. Okay, and that's on like a stock style strut. So yeah, it rides pretty good, but the problem I'm running into is if I hit a pothole, if I'm turning pretty hard and then there's like a little bump in the road, something bottoms out in the suspension. Okay, and it's pretty harsh. I don't like it because, you know, it's going to eventually break something or wear something out. A buddy of mine, a good buddy of mine, we thought he had a pair of springs I could use, and that's what this video was going to be. But we didn't think those were 150-pound springs. What he has is, I believe they're 14-inch, 130-pound springs. Now, this is a pretty light car, but I'd like to do a lot of street driving. I think 130s are too light. So I may have to take a trip up to Jags if I want to get started on this, especially if I want to take advantage of the weather. So I may have to run up to Jags, and now I gotta sit here and debate whether or not I want to get the 14-inch 150-pound springs. Again, same spring rate, it's just gonna be 2 inches taller, or go ahead and go 14-inch like 175. This car's not going to get any heavier. Matter of fact, it'll probably end up getting lighter if I keep the car, because this car still got a lot of weight I could take off of it. You know, it's still got the stock hood on it. It's still got cast iron heads on it. These front wheels are fairly heavy. I know that's unsprung weight, but you know, it's weight nonetheless. So on the way to Jags today, I think I got to make a decision on which spring I want. Hopefully they have them in stock. Most of the time when I go up there, a lot of stuff they don't have in stock, but they'll send it to me. And you know, I got nothing else better to do for the rest of the day. Now, it don't look like it right now because the car's jacked up, but when this car is sitting down, those coils on those are about this far apart from each other. And I think what's happening is if I hit the pothole or whatever, and this car goes to, you know, the suspension goes to go, you know, compress, that all those coils bind and smacks. Because I don't think it's maxing the strut out. I believe it's the coil springs bottoming out. And when I looked it up on the internet, there's other people's had problems with running 12-inch tall 150-pound springs on the street. and they say that it'll have coil bind. Now, if you went with a 14-inch, that you know, you could probably eliminate that. So that's gonna be my plan. Like I said, the car rides fairly nice up until it bottoms out, and then it, you know, wants to break your teeth. It's like, ugh, and it's both sides. So it's something I think I can fix. I looked it up. Jegs has, and I'm not sure if they're in stock because the website kind of, you know, really don't tell you all the time. But Jegs brand coilover springs are $50 a piece, like $49.99. So that's a pretty good deal. So for $100, I can fix this thing. But let's get this started. Okay, I'm back from the trip to Jegs. They, thank goodness, had them in stock. So I went ahead and went with the Jegs brand. These are still 150-pound weight springs. It's the same as on the car, but these are 2 inches taller. And I'm hoping that's all I'm going to need to get this thing to quit bottoming out. But so I'm going to go ahead and try to get this started. Not sure exactly how I'm going to tackle this, because I'm going to try not to take the strut clear off the car. Maybe just unbolt the top. I'm hoping I got enough room to be able to swing it out and switch the spring. And I'm hoping, since they're taller, that they ain't going to fight me too much to get them on. But we'll see. Alright, I got the wheel off, and then getting here on this first side, I noticed this is kind of loose. This way, it's always good to do a nut and bolt check on everything. I'm sure it's probably worked its way loose just driving it around or whatever. Sorry for the video, it's kind of hard to unscrew this and get it on video. Is the whole thing turning? Yeah. Alright, first issue is the whole sleeve that's over that strut is turning, because I'm guessing this right here is supposed to hold it still, but yeah. So I'm about to get my tripod out and get the camera mounted on it so I can do this. Alright, give me a second, guys. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. I went ahead and I was able to screw that down by hand, and now the spring's just sitting there flopping. It don't look like he's got a bearing here on the bottom. It's got some grease on it though, but yeah. Also, it's got one on the top. Alright, now what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to try to undo that top nut. I'm going to try to bring this hole down. Hopefully I can bring it through the fender here and then just swap the spring out. I'm hoping it goes that easy, but you never know. Alright guys, I found the socket. Looks like it's a 21mm. I'm hoping it zips this off there without too much problem. Oh. Hold it. Nope, I can't hold it. Alright. The shaft's turning. I knew that would happen. Always happens when you got a camera out. Hold on, let me get a wrench. At least there's a big slot there at the top there. I'm gonna try it this way, I guess. Well, I don't know if I'm strong enough to hold that with the... Nope. Alright guys, I'm gonna give this a try. It's a big old chisel, and I'm gonna end up using it with a crescent wrench on it so I can actually turn the dang thing. This may or may not work. If it works, great. If not, I'll have to find something else, because he does have this tight. Alright. That's where I kind of wish I had 3 hands. So I should be able to hold that like that. Oh, it came out. Hatch. chisel won't really fit down in there. It's close. Alright guys, my chisel was too wide and I didn't want to hit that down in there and spread that apart because then the nut wouldn't come off. So I'm just going to try to put the screwdriver in here just like this. Use this leverage. Well, that kind of, I just hope I don't break my screwdriver. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I wish I'd impacted and took that off. And there shouldn't be any spring tension on that. That spring is completely loose. There shouldn't be anything flying apart. It's just that I got to get this done because if I actually wanted to drive this thing around and call it a street car, we can't have it bobbing out like that. I know some of you out there are probably like, oh, turn the spring up, crank it up. And it's like, I don't think that's would have been there. That wouldn't have solved anything. I think the, like I said, the coil spring was literally bonding on its, it was hitting on itself. Oops. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, by the way, I believe these are some homemade camber plates that's on this. Sometimes you run into these issues when you buy someone else's project car that was never tested. All right, that was the. Alright guys, this is the benefit of putting a tubular front end on the car. The brake line's a little bit too short to be able to do this out the fender. But when you see anybody change the coil spring like that, that's awesome. That's awesome. Alright, there's the old one. And this is the 14 inch, so 12 inch, 14 inch. It's definitely taller. I'm hoping I can get that in there without too much hassle. It should. It should. Almost on there. Just need a little bit more, guys. There it goes. Yay. Alright. Alright, now. Put that on. I believe you had this. Like that. And then the spacer. Shove that back, and now I gotta get that back in the hole. Okay, when you do this, guys, watch your brake line. I put a lot of pressure on that brake line. I didn't mean to, but I didn't think it would be that short, but it is. Now, of course, the ride height on this thing's going to have to be all reset after this, but what can you do? Ain't nothing I can do about it. Alright, I went through the hole. This is going to be reversible. like using my screwdriver that way, but gotta use what works. Because that strut just moves really easy. I tightened up early. Alright, I'm going to hit that with the impact just to make sure she's snug. Of course, I'll probably spin that shaft, but I say that's tight. Well, guys, I'm putting the wheel back on. Probably gonna make it a little harder to adjust that, but we'll have to make do. This is I don't want this to fall off that jack, and then I'll have a wheel on this side, so it's a little safer. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to repeat that process on the other side. Oh, then I might be able to adjust. I might be able to adjust it from up here. I should be able to get my wrench down there and just yeah, you know, jack the car up to get the weight off the spring, and then reach down there and crank that adjustment nut up. Oh, I'll tell you what, this car being as light as it was, these front rims being 9 inches wide, those suckers are heavy. If I put a set of skinnies on the front of this thing probably lose about 40 more pounds. Alright, let's see. Yeah, see this one here, when you got the weight off of it, I can crank it by hand also. There's the ring. The lock ring. And guys, yeah, I don't know what coilover kit this is, so please don't ask. Definitely looks like it was meant to go over a stock strut. Any stock style anyway. What I'm doing is I'm cranking that coil spring down, take the pressure off of it, and that way I get that top nut. When I get that top nut off, there won't be no spring pressure on it. I probably could have done had spring pressure on it and to help get that nut loose, but I just didn't want it to shoot out. If I left that under spring tension, I might have shot something down or something. Who knows? But these old springs will be up for sale here pretty soon. So if you know anybody, of course, someone local will probably want them, though, too. I'm going to probably put them on Facebook or something. They're 12-inch 150s. Now, we had that debate whether or not I should increase the spring rate or decrease. I decided to stay the same because this car actually rides fairly nice. It just was bottoming out. Can't have that. Can't have that. I just didn't want it to end up breaking something. All right, what I'm doing now, guys, I got another jack. I'm gonna end up putting it underneath the ball joint here. Something I've learned from the other side. I don't want to yank it on that front rubber brake line. And what I'm doing is I put it underneath the ball joint there. Yeah, that's just to keep it from dropping down and pulling on that brake line. That sucker tight. Oh, don't hit my breather. Bring it back this way. Yeah, that one pretty tight. One thing I noticed, guys, is this one's sticking through a little bit more, and I thought that one wasn't sticking as far up the threads right here on the nut. I don't think it's sticking up as far as it did before, so I might have to double check that one to make sure something didn't get bound up or something. But we'll have to pay attention when we put this one back together. If I can get it just like this, where it has, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch of thread sticking through. I thought that one did, but now it's just got maybe 1/4 inch. So I've had that happen before on the big block years ago, where that spacer didn't go all the way through and kind of hung up. There's a spacer on top of the strut on this one, just like my other car. And I wonder if it didn't go through that spacer. I just don't have the strength to be able to hold that like that. At least not yet. I'm about to start losing daylight. It took me a little longer to get up her jegs and back than I originally planned. Went with one of my friends, and of course we were BSing around, but that's life. I don't know if you can see that, guys, or not. There we go. I'm gonna lower the jack down, and everything should come down with it. And I got hung up there. Technical difficulties. No, I got last thread is just sticking up here. There it goes, and that's why I had to jack there. Yep. All right. So hopefully, all right. Top plate. Hopefully. It might work just like that other one. Oh, I'm getting excited. Yeah, I know there's gonna be guys out there now. When you do a coilover, I know the big box got it. There should be a little flat bearing washer. It's like a flat washer, but it's got like a bunch of little rollers in it down here on the bottom and there at the top. Right here where the, let's see, get it in a picture. Right here where the bearing goes. That way when you're cranking this thing. But if you're not constantly adjusting it, I mean, I've seen guys get away with this for a while. But if you got really nice stuff, make sure you put that bearing in there and put some grease on it. And that's what I'm gonna do. He had grease on the other one here at the bottom. There's don't seem to be any here on this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some grease. And I do remember my QA1s, they recommended you put never sees on these threads right here. You void the warranty if you don't, because they won't warranty gold threads if you don't have anti-seize on them. So be forewarned. I don't see me adjusting this car too much. Once I get the right height set, I'm gonna lock it in and call it done. You never know, I might end up putting something a little nicer on here in the future. So I ain't too worried about this. I'm pretty sure this was probably used to begin with, but whatever. Let me see if I can get that spring up. Oh, look at that. I'm gonna grab the other new spring and some grease. All right, just set that down. I'll tell you what. That's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. To be able to do that like that's kind of nice. All right, there's my grease. Just so it's not metal on metal, especially when you're adjusting it. It just makes it slide around a lot easier and makes it easier to adjust. Now you put those roller bearings on there, you'd be surprised how much you can actually adjust by hand. You got those roller bearings in there and they're greased up. At least in my experience, you can get a lot of adjustment just with your hands. There we go. Here's that. Yeah, he's got some grease there on that. That's good. Probably rip this down a little bit. Yeah, let's let it down a little bit so give me a little bit more room there. Good. This one. Good, and then the spacer. There we go. And then now I'm going to use the jack. Put that right back in the hole. Stop. It starts moving the car, so I'm gonna stop. It's got some pressure on it already. All right, now you go back up top and put that nut back on, and then the fun part is adjusting the dang thing. I wish I had a 21mm ratchet here, but I don't. But I do know once we got these. You jack the car up in the front end, and then you're trying to adjust the ride height. When you let it down, you'll have to roll the car forward and backward a couple times to let the suspension settle to get your true ride height. I've made that mistake back when I was younger. I was adjusting it, kept lowering it down, and you'd be surprised how there's a couple inch difference if you don't do that. So when you let them down, roll the car forward and backward a couple times, let that suspension settle. Then make your adjustments, or you'll learn the lesson the hard way like I did. All right, this one went right back to having about 3/4 inch threads, so this one's the same as it was. Really wasn't paying too much attention over there, but all right, I'm gonna hit that once with the impact just to make sure she's snug. That's tight. Alright. Now the only thing I need to do is put the tire back on and then lower her back down. So that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. This thing had inner fenders. It would have been a lot more difficult, but that was super nice to be able to get that down through there. Now always check your lug nuts by hand. I never trust, because I can't tell how many foot-pounds I'm putting on with the impact. Everybody has, they're laughing about the ugga-duggas and stuff, but double check with a breaker bar or a torque wrench. All right. So here in a second, we'll be able to see what the ride height is as the spring's all the way down. I'm curious. Now they'll probably settle a little bit. You know, brand new springs always have like a little break-in period. But all right, let's see how she sits. And again, I know I'm going to have to move it. See it pushing out that cardboard right there? That's the suspension being on a bind. Well, right now it looks like it's like stock ride height, but I know it ain't. Can't be. Alright, so I'm going to fire the car up and I'm going to pull it forward and backward. It did settle a little bit doing that. Alright guys, so technically another cold start video here. It's cooled off a little bit. It's probably mid to upper 50s. You probably can't see me right now. There we go. Right now it's probably about mid to upper 50s. So not a real cold start. So I'm probably only going to push the gas pedal twice to the floor and then hit the key and see how she starts. And then I'll back her up and pull her forward and we'll see where the suspension is. I'm going to go ahead and let this, just going to set it down. I'm not going to actually latch it. And then we'll see where she's sitting. Yes, I seen the headlights flickering. I'm pretty sure it's the ground. I've been having a ground issue over here, but yeah. All right, guys. She settled down a little bit more. That's probably just about where it was before, to be honest with you. And then I got the spring purchase all the way down. So I'm sitting here thinking that I am going to go ahead and let it. I'm going to try to drive it like that. Okay, again, brand new springs are going to settle a little bit once you get them to, and then I'll see where she settles down to, and then if I need to, I'll raise it up, because between the front and the back, it's fairly close. If it settles a ½ inch or so, it'll probably match the rears just about perfectly. So see how this other side is. This side's about the same. Yeah, don't look at that fender too much. But yeah, she's riding about the same. Now I'm gonna take it down the road and make sure that she don't bottom out like she was, because that was very annoying. So I got my little adjustable wrench in my pocket, because I was going to adjust it, because I believe I can adjust these springs from under the hood, which would be nice. Again, guys, don't depend on the impact wrench. Make sure you know how tight they are. You won't forget. You will never forget a wheel coming loose on you. You'll never forget it. All right. I hope you can hear me. Some guys might point out, hey, you didn't tighten up the jam nuts on those coil springs, and you're correct. It's because I don't know where I'm going to set them at just yet. Since they're all the way down, it's not like they're going to loosen up on me. So I'm going to leave them loose up until I decide where the right height on this car is going to be at. Then I'll jam them. You got to jam them pretty tight too. So don't be trying to beat me up there in the comments. I realize that those ain't tight. We're going to need to. So it's already on the list to do. Right now I'm trying to warm it up a little bit. She's cold. I don't like running something hard while she's cold, and I really wasn't planning on running this thing very hard. I just want to make sure that the suspension isn't bottoming out like it was before. That was horrible. So we'll get rolling here as soon as this thing gets a little bit of heat in it. See, it seems like it rides just like it did before. I do hear the springs. I don't know, it's like they're trying to settle in or something. This car has no insulation in it, so it's always going to be noisy. Always. But roads like this will definitely help break those springs in really quick. All these bumps. Bump there, it would have bottomed out really harshly before. Guy at Jags was right. It's a little stiffer. The taller spring, I believe, is a little stiffer. Either that or it's just because it's brand new. It definitely seems to be a little stiffer than the other ones. I know it'll bottom now right there. So this car is set on 14 pounds of boost, but you'll notice it takes it a while to get there. Again, if you go to my older videos, I explain that. This is an old 74 to 78 Mustang 2 engine. It just does not breathe. The turbos kind of force it to, but it takes it a while to spin those turbos up. But it won't hit 14 pounds of boost in first and second, but it will in third and fourth. It just takes it a while to get there. Unless I want to change the camshaft and cylinder heads and do all kinds of work, we'll just run it as is until I hurt it. And if I hurt it, I'll put a newer 5-liter HO roller motor in it, or maybe a 351 Windsor or something. But it's still a fun little toy. Definitely runs better than it used to. Oh yeah, it would have bottomed out right there for sure. So that definitely was it. So the taller springs definitely fixed it. So let that be a lesson to you. The 12-inch spring, if you're going to drive it on the street, might bottom out. It's actually just coil binds on you. So I'm going to come up here and visit my buddy Jimmy, and I'm going to visit with him for a little bit. Didn't bottom out. Makes noise, but it didn't bottom out. All right, guys, the test drive went great. So I'm still going to let it. I'm gonna drive it around a little bit because it did settle about another ½ inch or so, and it's looking better. So you can see, definitely went down about another ½ inch. So I'm gonna let it settle before I decide on where to where I'm gonna leave the height at. It's actually pretty close where I'd actually done it anyway. So, but that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I'm not sure I'm gonna video me tighten up this jam nuts. It'll be within a couple days of me driving it. I just want those springs to settle. So, until next time, guys. I'll see you later. Bye bye.